guys, so this is Joe Butterfield with Competitive Horsemanship. I'm going to give you some tips today on barrel racing and some tips on your rope horse in the box. So a few things that you need to have before we actually get to the barrels or to the roping box is hip control and shoulder control and mouth control. So in me manipulating these body parts around, that when I get to the roping box and take a hold of my horse, that he's like, oh, I've had that done before. It's happened out here. So I'm going to use my big circle out here to where when my horse leaves the circle, that I'm going to pull him through the middle. When he drops into the circle, I'm going to shove his shoulders back up to the outside of the circle. If it doesn't go very well, I'm going to counter off the circle. So let's talk about the circle. What is actually a circle for me? So why do people use a round pen when they start their colts? They use a round pen because there's a wall there and it keeps the horse's attention in the colt start from wanting to get back to its buddies. And then when they do whatever they do to the reins or the horse's body, it kind of registers because the horse is with them. It's not busy trying to get away from them. So I try and build a round pen out here in the big arena, so when I get my horse's go matching its whoa, then I can start messing with its mouth and its hips and its shoulders, and it registers with them because they're what they call stuck to you or join up or whatever. But if they're trying to get off the circle and you're manipulating them body parts thinking that it's going to take a hold and you can use them same cues for going into your pocket in the barrels or backing your rope horse in the box, it's probably not going to work because it never really took a hold out here in the circle. So again, we need to manipulate the body parts, but first of all we're going to build a circle, a round pen out here to where they get hooked on this circle, and then when we use two reins for finesse, then the word finesse really, if you think about it, means that the horse is really, you and him are finessing together to make a athletic maneuver, right? So the round pen consists of, for me when I build it here, is I want to build this line to where they're at least 15 feet off of the fences. So the camera is my line. I want to be this far off the fences, 15, 20 feet off of the fences, and then somewhere I'll build an imaginary back fence there and keep my horse on the circle. So the other thing that you need to understand is there's two types of rein. There's a casual rein and there's a concentrated rein or a finesse rein, right? So when I'm building this circle, I am going to build it with a casual rein. My horse is going to leave the circle or fall into the circle, and I'm going to have to go to I'm going to have to take a hold of my horse. I'm not wanting to call it a finesse rein. I'm going to have to take a hold of my horse. When he leans out, I'm going to pull him through the middle, and when he leans in, I'm going to stand that shoulder up. If he doesn't really obey the shoulder being stood up, I'm going to counter off and try and shake him off that rein, right? Okay, now for the barrel racing, the big tip is, so let's just say that I was going around this circle like right here, and I want to go through the middle. I'm going to pull a little bit on the inside rein, and I'm going to push with my outside foot and pull with my outside rein. This is a really big maneuver that you really need to understand for the barrel racing, is that I do not pull very long or get my horse's head too tipped in. Like, see how my hand is like 3 feet off my horse's neck right there? I don't want that. I want it like a foot off, and when this is not working, I'm coming with an outside rein and an outside foot and I'm pushing them up into the turn. The motor is back here. And when you pull on reins, you have to understand, when your horse gets broke, when you pull on two reins, it's going to slow your horse down. So you need to push on the gas pedal. The gas pedal is back here. So again, if I was coming through here, just direct rein, and then a supporting rein and a supporting foot, and then as soon as they make that corner, I'm standing that shoulder up. Like, it's almost happening right within the circle, is when I make this corner here, and as soon as I get to here, like, I'm standing that shoulder up. Because I don't want them coming through that corner like this. So I direct rein and a supporting rein, and you're coming through that corner and that shoulder's dropped. That's not going to work very good on the barrel if you don't know how to stand that shoulder up. So I'm coming into that barrel, direct rein, a supporting rein, and I'm standing that shoulder up. Supporting rein. It's the same turn. So that same turn in my big circles is the same turn going into the pocket of my barrels. And again here, a direct rein, support, push with this foot, keep that motor going, then an indirect rein. Slide that hand up the neck, pinky to the sky, and keep that shoulder stood up. Just like I'm going into this barrel. A direct rein, supporting rein, keep driving, keep the feet moving forward, supporting rein, and it keeps that roundness all the way through the turn. I'm practicing that several times out in this big circle right from the colt start. What else am I forgetting about that? Oh, okay, so if for instance, just so you guys know, this is key. You have to have a bullseye in the middle of your circle, as in, let's call this the bullseye right here. When you make that turn, you got to go to the inside. You got to be aiming for the inside of the bullseye. Inside of the bullseye. Alright, so here we are coming around the corner here. I'm aiming for the inside of that bullseye. As soon as I make the corner, I run that hand up here. See how I'm on the inside of that. Why? So what you're actually doing here also is that when your horse goes to lean out, you're making it a lot of work for him to make this turn. You make this turn like this a lot of work, pretty soon they're like, I think I'll just try staying on the circle, because it's a lot of work when I leave the circle. He makes me make the sharp turn, and he makes me push, he pushes on, and they just basically kind of like, it's easier to stay on the circle. So again, we're not in the finesse part yet. All I'm trying to do is keep this horse on the circle to where he starts having his go meet his woe, so he's not trying to run away from me, or he's not trying to be lazy, and he's just pulling with all 4 feet. And when that starts to happen, then I can start to pull on 2 reins and do some finesse things and really talk to some body parts, okay? Now, that's the outside of your horse. So if that's home, they usually lean away from home, so that would be working on the outside of your horse. But just for camera's sake, let's say this is the outside of the other side of my circle. Generally, they're going to want to drop in right here. So what am I going to want to do when they drop in? I'm going to want to slide that hand up the neck, keep driving forward with my core, and stand that shoulder up. Later on, that's all I have to do. But what's going to happen is I'm going to have to canter my horse off once in a while to make it a lot of work to drop in. So if my horse drops in, I'm going to put pressure on his hips, and I'm going to canter him off and work on the shoulder. Say, stay off this rein. Come back on the circle, and right here, keep sliding that hand up in that circle. Don't let him drop, because when you get hooked back on that circle again, they're going to want to frickin' drop again. So you got to test them right there when you get back on the circle. Don't drop. Okay, so let's just do it at a trot for a little bit, working on the circle. This colt's third time away from home in a new arena, so I'm not going to be too particular. Percent a day. So I'm building my circle. See how this is a casual rein? Now I have to help her stand that shoulder up, but it's a casual rein. It's not a concentrated rein. Casual rein. Let them make the mistakes. Don't hang on to them. You can't feel them make mistakes. Plus your hands are tied up. When you're hanging on to them like this, guys, your hands are busy. They're tied up. But when they're like this and you need to correct them, now they're free to correct them. Let them make the mistakes and correct them. Get what you want, then back to a casual rein. Just like, I know I'm close to the camera here, but I'm going to push, direct rein, push, and then stand them up right away. Come back on, that's for a drop shoulder. Alright, so now I've done it at a trot, let's speed it up. And this is the same for ropers. So when because look at, even though I'm not doing the finesse part right yet, I still get to work on some body parts here and take a hold of my horse. So one of the things when we roped last night with my buddy was the problems that his horse was having was, so he's in the box there and they got a hold of the horse, and the horse has kind of got a head over here, got his head over here, leaning over here, and the roper can't get that feel of this to where the horse can spring off his hand and go after his calf. So the reason is because the horse hasn't been taken a hold of enough in its training to know when you pull on this bit to give to the bit and get soft. So it gets in the box, it gets a little bit nervous, and it wants to get off the bridle because it hasn't been pulled on enough to know what to do with the bridle. This here is where I'm going. So this is a key thing right here also to know. So when I first start my horses, I get this going right here. Driving my horse with my inside foot around the bridle, over top of the bridle, and he's getting off the bridle on that corner of his mouth right there. But look at what his brain has to do in order to get quiet on the bridle. He has to get quiet, right? And someday I'm going to exchange this softness for when I take a hold of two reins, as if I was a roper in the box. When I take a hold of two reins, it's like, get quiet. I'm going to change the one rein, put it in two reins. It's that they will understand that means calmness, quietness, everything's okay. See, right now, everything's okay with one rein. Very, very, and he's stepping around, she's stepping around, getting off that, my feet are doing the work, right? And then you can change it later. Quit grabbing the back of the saddle, and I'm driving her into this bridle, and look how quiet she's getting. So eventually, when you take 2 reins in the box and do this, it's like, stay quiet, stay calm. I'm with you. There's a connection there. I'm with you, all right? So that's happening also in this circle. There's so much to talk about horsemanship when you're trying to just give a tip or two, but in this circle, there's just so much going on it's easy, but it's so helpful. Okay, so now we're going to do them same things as I'm cantering along here. Okay. Casual rein. Kind of got her shoulder dropped. I'm going to let her go, let her be for a little bit. Kind of looking around. Get her off that shoulder. Kind of looking around, feet are stalling. Drop her shoulder. Get her off. So here's the other thing, folks, that I'm going to do. So see how I'm kind of struggling there? Don't be scared to stop and go back to this. Get quiet. Get off that inside rein. So they kind of get the point. I'm trying to talk to her on that inside rein right there. Say, don't lean on my inside rein. She's not really getting it. So rather than get her mad and get aggressive, stop. Do that little circle like that. Get her off that rein. Try again. Walk a little bit. Walk along here. Work on that rein at a walk. Then count her off. Work on that rein. Drive her forward. Okay, when that's not working, right there's that key component there. Don't let her drop when you come back on there. Kind of looking around. It's okay, that's great. I don't want her to be I want to train on these body parts. I love going away from home. Gives me a chance where I'm away from the barrels to train on these body parts. Okay, let's say she isn't leaning out, but here's that part of the circle right here. Pull, lift. That's for leaning out. That's that big time move you need right there. I'll do it again for you. Direct rein. Drive, drive, drive. Lift that shoulder up. Here it comes again. Push on the outside. Lift that inside up. There we go. I said, first time away from home, definitely lifted her head up at the fences. Back of the arena, there's some cattle back there. You know, just, I don't want to get her too upset, but I can tell, like, she's leaning on the inside rein, so that's kind of percent a day. I don't have to beat her up and get her perfect today. 20 days later, I'm going to stand back and say, is she 20% better? Rather than force her into getting off that inside rein, all of a sudden I lose 10%. Now how do I even get back to zero to where I can start getting my percent a day? So there's the tip there for ropers and barrel racers. Can you move the shoulders and the hips around? Get off that rein. Right? You're going to need to do this in the box. See, I'm just working on body parts, but look how it pushes her up into the bridle. So when I get into the box and I do this, just squeeze my feet a little bit, horse gets collected up so they can spring off your hand. I don't know how many times I've heard this horse is light in the box. That's bullshit. You don't want your horse light in the box. You want them on your hand so you can feel them, and it starts out here. You get them on your hand out here lots when you're maneuvering these body parts around to where they get the understanding of what that piece of metal in their mouth is for. And foremost, I would like it to be a calmer, to where they stay in between my hands and my legs and they get quiet and get ready to spring into action. Use your circle out here for whether it be getting into the pocket of your barrel horse to where you can keep that shoulder stood up, drive around there, or backing your horse into the box and you need to maneuver the hips around. You can have a little dance here. Maneuver the shoulders around. Focus gives you feel. Feel gives you timing. Timing gives you balance. Focus. Right? You can move the shoulders and the hips around. Then when I can do that with my feet, I can just hold. My hand just holds in the roping box. Just holds. It shouldn't need to be doing all that kind of stuff. You can move them around with your feet. Alright? So that's that segment. We'll come back maybe later with some other roping tips with actual, we're going to rope some calves and show you how it all works with the horse that we're actually working with. Alright, thanks. This is Joe Butterfield with Competitive Horsemanship on YouTube.